don't really remember how it happened, but somebody just called my name. They yelled my name, Chinook, it's your turn. And they handed me the cup. And that moment where you just put your hands up over your head with that thing is just bananas. So cool. Hi, I'm Mark Shunock, and I'm a ringmaster here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. It's a small town, a steel mill and a hockey team, but great people. And growing up in Sault Ste. Marie was pretty special. My father was a dentist by trade, but in the late 80s acquired our home team, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. My dad's dental practice was directly across the street from the facility, the Memorial Gardens, where the team played. So it wasn't an oddity for my father and I, after I was finished school and he was finished work, to be in that arena. Any chance I could get on the ice, I was on the ice. Whether it was outdoors, in somebody's backyard rink, I was awesome at hockey. My dedication and understanding of what it would take to go to the next level was not as awesome as my skill set. Yeah, I think I was always a performer. Going back to my young days on the bus as a hockey player, I was constantly told to shut up and sit down. And I was a goalie, and I'd be caught in my crease singing songs. I prided myself on being good in the sport. The maturity was not there. The theater found me. And in my last year of high school, I jumped on stage per the request of a high school teacher. There was a gentleman by the name of Richard Howard who was married to an Oscar winner, Lila Kudrova, and started a small theater company. And from there, I ventured off to New York City. And I essentially grew up in Manhattan. I left home at 19, learning from whoever would be willing to let this goofy, awkward, short Canadian kid into their class. Growing up where I did, I didn't understand what NYU was, or Juilliard, or Tisch, or Carnegie Mellon, or Yale. But I just got lucky, just started working. What I love about the stage is the process more than anything. Just the process of ripping scripts apart and rehearsing and finding new ways to tell a story, essentially. Timon in The Lion King was probably the role that changed my life in the theater world, because it was the first big theatrical job, big Broadway production. Once you're in that club, there's this confidence in the community that, hey, that person's done a show, they can do another one. Rock of Ages was an exciting call to receive. They're like, hey, Vegas, do you want to do it? For sure. I still had to go through the audition process, and that was exciting. Vegas at that time to me was just the city that everybody else in the country knows. It's 3 or 4 days, great restaurants, nightclubs, parties, shows, and go home. So at that time I was like, I'll go do 6 months, a year, and we'll see what's next. So getting the call to come to Vegas with Rock of Ages essentially changed my life. Early in our sit with Rock of Ages, our owner, Mr. Bill Foley, went on the news and said, hey, I want to bring professional hockey to Las Vegas. And a little crazy that I am, I just literally picked up the phone. I joined the Vegas Wants Hockey campaign. There was about 50 or 60 of us, and our job was simply to call people in town and say, hey, give me $1,000. For what? A hockey team. Which one? Doesn't exist yet. And we sold 14,000 season ticket deposits. The National Hockey League awarded Mr. Foley a franchise, branded it the Vegas Golden Knights. The front office then contacted me and said, hey, would you be interested in hosting? And I said, absolutely. The ride that the Golden Knights have had in 6.5 seasons now is unheard of. So to almost win it all in year one, 3 games away from winning the Stanley Cup in your inaugural season, that's unheard of. And I'm sure there's a movie that's going to be made about that. To winning it all in season 6 is just bananas. But that's a testament to the people within the organization. But at the end of the day, my job is to make sure that 18,000 people bring the noise night in and night out. I guess I'm a glorified hype man. And I approach what I do as a host as a fan. I didn't go to school to become a journalist or a news anchor or a sports personality. It's just the path that I was on brought me here. And I think that's a unique skill set that I have, whether it was starting out as an actor or a kid who wanted to play the game, who went into acting and had a wonderful career as an actor, now working in sports. You know, when I walk into T-Mobile Arena 41 times a season with the team, not including playoffs, I don't think of it as a job. I really don't. I think of it as I'm a fan with a microphone. Game 5, we win the Stanley Cup. The next day, we were planning a parade. But to be able to take that stage, grab that microphone in front of, I think it was 250,000 people who packed the streets, closing the strip, double-decker buses coming down, is something that I'll never forget. You know, I think I said something along the lines, it's not about lifting a Stanley Cup, it was about lifting a city. And the Vegas Golden Knights certainly did that. Even to this moment, sitting here, it hasn't set in. I'm a host for a Stanley Cup winning franchise. As a kid who grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, who just wanted to win the Stanley Cup, to have a picture hanging in my office now of me hoisting the Stanley Cup at center ice inside T-Mobile Arena, it really hasn't set in. Season 1 of the Golden Knights is when the phone started to ring from other sports organizations. Top Rank Boxing on ESPN is based in Las Vegas. They're headquartered here. They were at a hockey game and they're like, hey, get that guy. And so I started working for Top Rank Boxing on ESPN. The trajectory and gigs, as I call them, started to be all sports related and not theater related. And I wasn't mad at it. You know, it was at first I was like, well, wait a minute, I'm an actor. I'm not a sports host. I got over that pretty quickly. So Monday's Dark is a nonprofit that my wife and I started a decade ago. And in 90 minutes, you never know who's going to show up. But in those 90 minutes, we raised $10,000 for a deserving local nonprofit. This is seeing some of the best performers in Las Vegas take off their costumes for a night and do something they normally wouldn't do for a cause, right? And that's one of the, I think, offshoots that I never expected. My circle of friends are executive directors for nonprofit organizations in Las Vegas. And those are people that have dedicated their lives to a cause, whether it's an animal rescue, a cancer rescue, an LGBTQ plus cause, metro, fire, hospitals, you name it, we've supported them. And those people who run those organizations are now my friends. But I simply love Las Vegas. You know, again, before I moved out here, it was always the same opinion that I think most of the country has. Hey, do you live at the Venetian? You know, that's the number one question I think anybody who lives in Las Vegas gets from their friends and family that do not live here. The community, the people in Las Vegas are what kept us here. The buildings are sensational, the shows are sensational, the restaurants are amazing. But without the great people who make them go, they're really nothing. So that's what kept us in Vegas. That's what made us fall in love with the city. It wasn't these big buildings and the shows. It was the people.